Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Rule 34 podcast. I'm your host, Jack, joined by my fellow co-host.
It's Mr. Solis.
We are back again to record for another episode on a WWE pay-per-view, and we're going to kind of speed run through this one because, more importantly, we want to talk about what were our top 10 matches from this year. But first off, how have you been, Mr. Solis?
I've been okay. I'm about one last shopping trip away from being done with my Christmas gift shopping. It has been quite a challenge this year, as you can imagine. But what happens every year? Right after the school semester ends, I'm not really, done. I'm still sort of running on, adrenaline, getting stuff done, getting ready for Friday. How about you?
I've been holding up, this year it was kind of tough. I didn't have as much money as I did last year for gifts. But, I got creative with it, with what gifts I would be giving to my family.
Nice.
And I was able to, and I was explaining to Dominic because we were kind of talking about Christmas, I believe, either on the last podcast episode or just on our own. I was telling him, I typically like to lean towards more meaningful gifts because he was talking about what do you do? Do you go with looking at things that kind of because you always want to spend a good amount of money on the people you care about. But I was saying I kind of look towards gifts, but I always set a budget on maybe how much I should spend on a certain gift for a person. But I told him I also make sure it's something that's meaningful.
Absolutely.
Where, I know it's going to be meaningful to the person I'm giving. They're going to appreciate it to the point where, it doesn't matter the monetary value of it.
I can appreciate that. I do my best to give them something that they're going to like. But it's funny? I impulse shop like crazy. And, I end up buying, 2 or 3 things for the same person because I forgot about the last thing I bought. And I go, oof, well... Then I'll start talking to my brother about, hey, you finished your shopping? You want to get one of these? Yeah, I go pretty crazy. Things get blurry. And I wake up and I'm home with a bunch of bags and I go, oh, it was a good day.
Yeah. It really sucks how things are this year because, I've always kind of made a tradition, just even if it's, a little thing to, give many of my different friends a gift. Today, actually, a friend came and safely dropped off a little card for me and my family.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, and my family definitely appreciated it. The little message he wrote kind of got them teary-eyed.
Yeah. I'm going to try to send Christmas cards by the end of the week. They might be Christmas emails to folks that I'm just thinking about.
But so,
here we are.
TLC 2020.
Tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh my!
Man, as I said, we're gonna kind of speed run through. So my thoughts on the pay-per-view as a whole. It like I mentioned to you before, it genuinely was one of the better pay-per-views of the year, and there was a little bit of build to it, but they did really well building up to a lot of the matches on this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And my only complaint about it is kind of similar to our complaints of Extreme Rules. And I think it's just because of my of past experience with TLC events. Sure, TLC events have had normal matches going, but I found it kind of odd that they chose to have 2 TLC matches and then not have any type of other stipulation matches in the night. At least a table match or a chairs match or something like that, or a ladder match.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that or you noticed their absence. Yeah, we did get 2 TLC matches, which I guess just sort of necessitated hanging the belt, you know what I mean, above the ring, where a table match or a chair match, that isn't the case. Yeah.
And I could kind of get the reasoning for it, because if they're having those 2 TLC matches, and as we know, seeing both matches, the amount of spots that involved all 3 elements,
Mm-hmm.
it would warrant not having those matches, but like, because then it would create sort of a overwhelming feeling of, well, we're already seeing so many of these spots throughout the night.
Yeah, and I'll show my hand when we get into the matches, but I've heard people say that both were good, both were enjoyable to watch. I think one was superior to the other.
Yeah.
As far as their use of the tables, ladders, and chairs. One seemed gratuitous, and it wasn't necessary for the match, and one definitely, I think, built into the story better.
Yeah. But so we'll start off. I was actually surprised at this, but my dad said, because we had kind of tuned into the pre-show earlier, they said this would be the first match, which I didn't hear, but Drew versus AJ for the WWE Championship in a TLC match.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Now, AJ has his bodyguard, almost with him.
Right.
And so I like how they kind of played up, that Drew was keeping an eye out on him the entire time,
Mm-hmm. You needed the commentary to tell you that because... And, Drew was good about, keeping his head on a swivel. He didn't need to. Almost did next to nothing for a significant part of the match.
Yeah. I will say there was some good spots. Towards the beginning of the match, you have Drew just chopping AJ out of the ring. I thought that was a really good spot. But, I don't know how you feel, but I think this might be the match that you were saying, felt like it kind of didn't need the stipulation.
It sure didn't, no sir. AJ was working the leg because, I guess he's hindering the champ's ability to scale the ladder with some, pretty wild spots. But yeah, no, I definitely thought that this didn't need to be full scale, full blown tables, ladders, and chairs.
Yeah, I thought it either just could have been a simple chairs match or even a ladder match, because we did see AJ use the ladder and then a chair for his calf crusher to weaken the legs.
Right. So those are really neat, specific to his strategy of wounding, weakening the knee, wrapping his knee around all those things.
Yeah.
It was really gross to watch.
Yeah, but you look at that, and especially it's okay, you could have done a simple ladder match instead of TLC and just have that same spot with the ladder.
For sure.
Yeah, or you could have done just a chairs match or simply some type of Extreme Rules match where he can then play up, targeting the leg,
Yeah.
But for the most part...
This match does kick into a different gear. It takes too long for me, and I was really kind of in and out for the first half. But then something happens, Jack. Something happens that piques Mr. Sleece's interest and goes, oh, here we go.
So I believe we see... I think Drew and AJ are both down, and that's when you see.
So yep.
That's when you see the Miz and Morrison come running down with the Money in the Bank briefcase, and
guaranteed championship match at any time of his choosing, and he's going to choose to do it right in the middle of this match, effectively just entering his own participation in it.
Yeah, and. He cashes in and everyone's like, oh, this is actually surprising because for the most part, we've seen him try and cash in and it gets interrupted, So everyone was really, I found myself surprised that it actually went through. And then immediately as he cashes in, almost comes in and gets the Miz and throws him through the table on the outside.
Yeah, throw is a pretty generous description. He kind of dropped him into the table.
Yeah, oh man. And then this part, I know my dad would definitely talk about it if he was here. Morrison gets the chair to hit Omos with it, and as soon as it makes contact with Omos, the chair just explodes into pieces.
It's so wild, yeah. The seat comes off of it, the backrest comes off of it. It's he's got dangling pieces of metal left in his hands.
Yeah, and then the camera
almost no-sells it.
Yeah, the camera just zooms out almost his face, and he's he has that, did this man seriously just do that type face on him? Oh man, yeah. I really love that spot, and then you just see him chase Morrison out, eliminating Omos and Morrison from the field.
Yeah,
and then you kind of get a sort of who's gonna win spot at the end, where two ladders are set up and you have everyone on them trying to reach for the belt. McIntyre gets knocked off, but then he uses the other ladder to push it. Miz and Styles go off, and McIntyre wills his way to the top and retains his WWE Championship, meaning The Miz failed to cash in.
Yes, I believe that is the case. And, hindsight, it's like Drew was able to fend off a strong challenger in AJ, a wild card in The Miz, and all that, equipment and all that furniture. You know what I mean? Because I think that was a question before the night. Is Drew able to, step up in a match like this? We saw that Hell in a Cell lose, Yeah. So that's the thing that he kind of was able to prove last Sunday night.
Yeah. And, a lot of people were kind of mad that the Miz failed to cash in, but what I see it as is they're similar to what they've done with the Rumble in the past. They're trying to show that it's not a guarantee win.
Mm-hmm.
When we've seen people lose despite winning the Rumble to challenge at Mania, we've seen them lose to show that the Rumble isn't always a guaranteed win. And same with Money in the Bank, as much as it kind of has been a bit bad in terms of booking the past couple of years, all the losses have kind of shown, Money in the Bank isn't always a guarantee that you become champion now.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. Now I'm interested to see next pay-per-view is the Rumble.
Yeah, it is.
I'm excited to see who's challenging Drew, and excited to see who wins the Rumble and if they're gonna challenge Drew or Roman.
And what a socially distant Rumble looks like.
It's gonna be like that one match that you had my dad and I look up.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Because, spoiler alert, it may or may not be on my top 10 list.
But, so, the next match after this was, I believe, Sasha versus Carmella.
Right. Sasha defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against challenger Carmella.
I think it was a good women's match for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a lot to say on it.
No.
I'm just glad that Banks retained because we're finally getting to see her have an actual reign with a women's title.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing as how in the past she usually drops it either in the first defense or doesn't hold it for too long.
Right. So yeah, good start. And I heard Tom Campbell on Cultaholics YouTube channel say that it was maybe Carmella's best match in her WWE career.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's on and off. That was a night she was definitely on and had a good dance partner in Sasha.
Yeah. But I would say a good match. Not much to say on it though.
No, I was still into it. Yeah, and I heard another YouTuber say a lot of the matches were match of the night contenders. This one definitely included.
Yeah, and the main thing that had me and my dad talking was who's going to be next for Banks now. Because the struggle on Raw is who's going to be next to challenge Asuka for her title.
We're going to get to Raw in a hot second. I've got more to say over there. Oh no, buckle up.
But me and my dad were talking, SmackDown. SmackDown at least has more formidable opponents for Banks.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
For the Rumble, if they don't want to give a big match, they can throw Natalia at her for it.
Sure.
Or, they can even throw Tamina. I mean, the SmackDown women's roster has more choices than for Asuka, that's for sure.
They like breaking up women tag teams. Give it to Ruby or Liv.
True. But, so, the next match. The New Day versus the Street... I was about to say the Street Profits. The Hurt Business. For the Raw Tag Team titles.
Yeah, this one I saw the least. I was doing Christmas present related things. I got this one in the corner of my eye, but this one I was the most distracted.
I mean, it was a good match. My only complaint is, and we see it a lot with the tag team